everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Ask Ron, where every week Ron answers our Gold Club members' questions. I'm Debbie, and I probably haven't seen you in a little while, or I should say you haven't seen me, but I am filling in for Jesse this week. So Ron is ready to go with our questions.
I am.
All right. First one, Ron, is from Lucky Luck from North Carolina.
Hey, look.
I have a question. Seller owes 420,000 on the mortgage and 50,000 on a solar loan. If I take over his payments, what happens to the solar lien? Do I have to pay it off, or can the seller keep paying? And when my tenant buyer cashes out, will the bank require the solar lien to be cleared first? So then he says, question one, I have a seller who inherited a house. Wait, is this a different question?
All right. On this one, first of all liens have to be cashed out when you're cashing out of the house, of course. If it is a lien on the house, you better have a title search done and find that out for first, because if it's not, it's irrelevant to you. The seller, did he give me the ARV? I don't remember the ARV. I know
No, he did not.
Okay. So I don't know the ARV, so I don't, have half the information. You can buy the house. Nobody can stop you from buying the house but the seller. But if it stands like right now, like I think it is, that lien's got to be paid off when you sell. But I don't know that it requires monthly payments or not. You didn't mention that either. If you can get the seller to pay it, obviously that's your best choice. But that's going to be difficult if it's not an all-cash deal. So I don't know where to guide you on that, especially when you didn't tell me what the ARV is. Might be a waste of your time if you don't have any equity in it to speak of.
Okay. Now he has another question. So the way it's positioned, I'm assuming this is a different situation. I have a seller who inherited a house. The mortgage is still in the grandmother's name. She passed away. About $50,000 balance and 700 PITI. Seller is okay if I take over the payments. Since the loan is in the deceased person's name, how do I structure the deal and handle communication with the bank?
Subject to is just fine. And you can't handle communication with the bank. You just got to tell the person that's selling you the house that's getting mail from the bank to forward any notices to you and any end of the year statements and so forth. You're very lucky if you're going to get the bank to do that, because you're not the borrower, and the bank will know that the heirs have the right to receive that information. And honestly, if they don't forward anything to you, it doesn't really matter. You've got the loan number on the property. I hope you got it, because you better have it. If you don't, you got to get it to close on it. I put the loan number on the bottom of the check if you're going to mail a check in or whatever. You need to identify where the money's coming from, what property it goes to, or they might put this thing in lost payment heaven, and next thing you know, 5 months from now, you get a notice of foreclosing. I think that answered the question. You're going to have a hard time getting the bank to send you anything. It's not your loan.
Right.
Just
Okay.
make the payments.
Okay. Here's another one from Lucky. If I only have one LLC and I set up as the trustee of a land trust with myself as the individual beneficiary, then when I lease option that property to a tenant buyer, who should be the lessor on the lease option agreement?
In this case, you should make the lessor the entity that owns the property. But even then, if that's a land trust, then you can, I'd make the lessor anybody but you, and I'd make it, let me see, I'm backwards here. The lessor is actually the seller, so the liability is really not there. It's on the buyer. So frankly, whatever entity you want to put the money in, that's the one that ought to be the seller on the lease. And you should ask your attorney if that entity if that entity is the trustee, it should be the one on the lease as the seller. In fact, it has to be, because the seller has to be on there as the actual seller. But that don't mean that's where the money's gone. You can direct the money anywhere you want it by just giving the buyer a notice. This is where you make your payments.
Okay. All right, last one from Lucky. If I have 4 LLCs and I use LLC-D as the trustee of a land trust, it's just a utility LLC with no bank account.
Correct.
While LLC-C is the keeper LLC and beneficiary of the trust. Then
Yes.
when I lease option to the property, or sorry, I lease option the property to a tenant buyer, who should be listed as the leaseor on the lease purchase agreement?
Okay.
The
I
trustee or the beneficiary
just
LLC?
got through answering that. Okay.
Okay.
The lessor should be the owner of the property, which is your LLC, and then the lessee, um, the lessor is the seller, but the money should go in C.
Okay. That was a word salad, I feel like, that question.
I got it.
I'm glad you did.
Lucky's
Okay.
struggling with this, but he's getting it.
Okay, good. Next up is from Tony and Angie, of course, from Ohio. If a seller agrees to a terms deal, but insists the house is worth 50,000, 20% more than reality, how do you bring them back to earth without killing the deal? Or do you proceed knowing that you will more lease optioning it out? Oh, okay. Sorry. I think that was the question from last week, Ron, and it needed clarification. So
It
this,
sounds like,
yeah, that was a word salad also.
I think my answer was last week that I don't believe it's only worth 30. That's the first thing I check.
Okay.
I
Well,
mean,
this is the clarification. If a seller agrees to a terms deal but insists the house is worth 300,000,
oh,
but the
300.
yeah,
Okay.
but the comps say it's only worth 250,000. How do you bring them back to
I
earth?
would ask the seller, listen, I can't find any comps anywhere near what you're asking. Can you point me to how you got this number?
Okay.
And let them try to point you to it. And they might just say, we just made it up.
Yeah.
And then you're going to say, well, listen, I can't buy houses on made up numbers.
Right.
I don't pay all of what it's worth, much less more than what it's worth. So if you're not very flexible on that, then there's nothing I can do with the house.
Right. Not a deal there, maybe. Okay, next up is Leela Fitzwater from California.
Yep.
What exactly are the closing fees detailed we pay for and seller doesn't pay for when buying on seller financing?
Leela, that answer is different in every state. I can't give you that. You got to go to a title company or an attorney, or maybe a realtor that really knows those answers that you can trust to get those answers. And then you got to have them identify what each piece of those closing costs, uh, what each piece of it is worth. Because normally there's different kinds of closings, kinds like a cash deal is way cheaper than a terms deal on closing costs. But how do you determine that? Well, you got to be able to figure what each item is that applies to that particular deal.
Okay. All right. Next up, another Californian, Michael Johnson. Every good businessman keeps good records. How many mailers do you or your helper send out on average to secure one wholesale deal? This will help me to manage my mailers.
I've answered that before as well. There's nobody on earth that can answer that because there's so many variables. All right. Who do you send it to? Why do you send it to them? Why are they qualified for you to send that mail to them? What is on that thing you're sending? And how often do you send it? And all of those questions, because every single one of them that varies is going to vary that number. And then again, I can mail 1 week and 2 weeks later, I can get different results. I can get different results based on what city I'm in as well. What is going on around me? Is it Christmas? What can affect the results? There's no way to answer that except test. I hate that word test, but that's the only way to answer it.
And we do a lot of that here in
Yes,
marketing, that's
we
for
do
sure.
constantly,
That's
always
it.
doing it.
Right. Okay, next is from Brian Lucy from Colorado.
Hey, Brian.
Okay, this is a masterclass from a question on estimating repairs. I would like to see a specific list of the free things to do to get seller leads in a PDF and paid leads and one for the ads that we can post. Free things. He would like to
Run
see a specific
You've got
list.
some ads in your boot camp manual So what does he want a list of exactly?
A list of the free things to do to get seller leads. He wants like a PDF of the list of free things
You
to do.
said free,
Yeah.
free? There's no
Yes.
PDF of it. They are also in your boot camp manual. Let's go back to that. There's plenty of free stuff. There's plenty of stuff that costs a little bit of money. And there's plenty stuff that costs money because you pay other people to get them for you. So there's no PDF. Uh, and like, for example, running free ads online. How about using social media, putting free videos up on YouTube and up on TikTok and everywhere else that you can put them? Both of those are free and should constantly be done. Calling FSBO signs in front of houses. Free. I mean, you're going to have your VA call it, so I guess it ain't 100% free. Uh, and there's some stuff on there that costs such a small amount of money, I'd call them free. So go back to your boot camp manual. It's all in there. We covered it all on the first day.
All right. Next is from Wade Huie, and I'm sorry, I do not have a state for Wade. This is also from Masterclass Lesson 4. I appreciate the specificity of this session by breaking down the cost of each repair.
Yeah,
Makes the process less overwhelming.
yeah.
Okay.
And again, when you go to rehab a house, first thing you got to do is go through the house and make a list of what it needs. And that's very carefully. And I can do it again and you'll miss stuff and you'll still miss stuff. Okay. Then you got to go home and pull up your dreams site and go to the calculating repairs section. And then you got to make sure that your numbers out of my manual, the ones I gave you the other day, come close to matching what Dream says it might cost. And theirs is parts and labor as well. Based on what you know. For example, I told you that flooring was $5 a square foot install. Well, go see what Dream says at the time you're doing this, and then you can correct that once. You only got to correct it once. And when you go on there, you're going to put in the square footage of the house, so it's automatically going to compensate for that. Something else you know the price of on my, if you put in a 1,200 square foot house, for example, that's what's going to calculate it on. So you know that I don't know, trying to think of something that they could easily relate to. Um, Appliances. If you're putting in 3 appliances, you know they cost about $2,500 from Lowe's delivered to the house, and that's stainless steel for all 3 appliances. So do that, compare them, fix it once if it needs fixing, and that thing comes pretty darn close. We've tested it several times. But the list in your book is going to come very close as well. And that's the list I gave you as well. That list came right out of my boot camp manual.
Okay.
And I
All
can,
right. Next is Kevin Obrien from Florida.
Kevin.
During one of your masterclass lessons, you discussed sandwich lease options and told
Mhm.
the seller first payment will be made 30 days after installing the tenant buyer, meaning he kept the option consideration in the first month's rent payment. And if
That's
that
right.
and if that's the case, he just writes in the agreement. First payment starts 30 days after the installation of the tenant buyer. My question is on seller financed gets 90 days until first payment after the property is vacant. Where in the agreement does he write that in?
He writes it in paragraph 18, and I don't know if he's been to my boot camp or not, but the right clauses are in there as well. And it's got to be anytime you do a terms deal, you got to put stuff in paragraph 18 and paragraph 2B. Just fill in the blanks on 2B. But that's one of the clauses that I created to get you plenty of time to make your first payment. And it's not after the house is vacated, it's after the latter of house vacated or closing.
Okay. All right. Another question from Masterclass Lesson 4 Estimating Repairs is from Traci Scott. Can Dreams do or be made to do at least a quasi-title search of properties since there is some good information, or at least start with on county websites in the register or deeds sections?
It's got some information in there, and I'll tell you right now, it's not meant to be a title search, and you better not try to use it for a title search. A title search ain't but about $100. Let the professionals do what they do best, and you save yourself some possible grief. A lot of information is on the house, but I'm not going to say it's going to do a title search for you.
Okay. All right, Ron, that's all we have for this week.
That's all.
That's it.
Okay, well, let's
They
see.
went so easy on you.
All right, we got a fast track coming up next Thursday, don't we? You know how to get to it yet?
Yes, we do. So next Thursday, the 25th, from 12 p.m. Eastern to 3, Ron will be conducting a free virtual fast track to wealth. You can register at ronlegrand.com/fast track virtual.
One more time.
ronlegrand.com/fast track virtual.
All right, cool.
And that'll get you registered.
And then, we're not sure who's on here today. I'm guessing they all know about the Masterclass. ronlegrand.com/masterclass that some of you mentioned. That's every Tuesday and Thursday. It's free. 1 30-minute lesson right after the other until I run out of, I'll never run out of lessons, but well into the future anyway. Which one are we on now? Five coming up next?
We released 5 yesterday.
Okay, cool. How
Yes.
do they come back and watch them if they missed them?
So as soon as you register for the masterclass, you will receive an email from Kajabi, and that is where the course is. So all of the lessons will be in there. You'll start with lesson 0 is actually Ron's introduction, and where he explains exactly how the entire class will work. And then we are, like he just said, through lesson 5. And I believe we're probably going to have maybe 20 lessons or so. Ron, you would know, but we still
not really, because some lessons pop up along the way that I didn't make a list of. Yeah.
Sure. And obviously from their questions, there are always lessons that can come out of their questions as well. So
and your suggestions. Remember, you're supposed to turn in suggestions. You got to help me. This is
right.
work. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
You see something that you think I'm missing? I'm kind of going in order. Let me know. And if that's true, I'll create a lesson on it if it pertains to the rest of the group. Okay. You may also not have been notified that our virtual Quick Start School in October has now turned into a simulcast. So you can check that out. Come down here in Florida and be the first meeting to ever meet in our new meeting room in our building. But we're going to simulcast it simultaneously instead of just virtual alone. So we got a lot of stuff coming up. Got a lot of year left too. Got a lot of time to go get some deals out there. That's for sure.
That's right. That's right. We're gearing up for a banner 4th quarter. So you got to be.
Make note, Summit coming up December 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Summit, or the new fancy name we're going to assign to it, which I don't know yet, but put that in your planner, December 3rd, 4th, and 5th. That's 3 days of, experts in our industry, and me. I'm in there a lot, and all kinds of cool things and drawings and interviews of successful students. I'm working on the list right now, so it's going to be a dynamite event.
Yeah, that's a fun one.
Yeah.
We have a lot of fun with
drawings and all kinds of
contests.
stuff.
Yeah, drawings.
Don't give away a new Mercedes. Wasn't that on the list, Debbie?
That was not on the list this year.
Crap. Okay,
Yeah.
so Debbie knocked that off the list.
Sorry, guys. But of course, if you're watching this episode of Ask Ron, you are watching it through your weekly report that releases every Friday at 5 o'clock. If you scroll to the bottom of your weekly report, you have your calendar there with all of the links to all of the events, so you can register right there.
And don't forget, if you have questions during this masterclass, just ask at ronlegrand.com and we'll answer them during this format every Friday.
Absolutely.
Those are recorded now. Those are not live. They're recorded, so I can't answer them for you online as soon as you watch the 30-minute presentation. But I will answer them. All right.
Yep, you
Thank
did
you.
several here today, so that's good.
Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next week, if not sooner. Bye.
All right. Bye, everyone. Have a great weekend. Bye, Ron.